Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Brian Battle. I'm just going to say a couple words here to try to put some context to the process of our facility plan and where we are tonight. Looking out for the people seated here, how many people remember the referenda that 220 had back in the mid-90s through like 2000? Okay, I see a couple of hands, but not as many. Okay. So you guys will remember that back in those times, the school district was running referenda to build or modify all of our buildings. And there was a lot of building in 220 from that period through about mid-90s through 2001. It has now, that's been about 20 years. It's time to try to think about refreshing our buildings. There are a number of people here that I've seen that represent people like the fine arts boosters, the sports boosters, who have come to the board periodically over the last few years and said, you know, we would like the board to consider running a referenda to make X improvements. Right? And the board over the last few years has said, not yet. Right? I mean, this community, right, took on a fair amount of debt back in that period when we were building a bunch of buildings. And we've always said, we need to wait until that debt gets retired, and then we can we'll kind of redo a refresh on the facilities, right? Well, that debt comes off of our district books in about 2021. For each of us, right, that building debt represents a fair amount of your tax bill. It is for a median household, say that's valued in the Barrington area of about $550,000. It's about $700 to $750 a year, right? That right now is scheduled to come off in 2021. Whether we as a community want to reinvest in our schools with replacing some of that money with a new bond offering to do facility improvements is a question that's not a board decision, that's a community decision. Right? It can only be done in a referendum, it's not a board decision. I say that because at the end of this process, at some point we as a community are going to have that conversation. The board knows we need to have that conversation. So as you see facility plans tonight and in the next month or so, I know a lot of people keep asking, well, where's the money coming from? Well, the only place the money is going to come from is in a community-approved referendum, let's be honest. But to have that conversation, the board felt we need to have a structure to that conversation. Right? So a year ago, we hired DLR, and we appointed a core team that was made up of some of our educators and some of our community members to begin the process of putting this facilities plan into some perspective so that we as a community can have a very good conversation. The timing to that conversation, we don't know, right? All we know is that for the next 5 weeks, beginning tonight, there's going to be a bunch of presentations like this, but in some cases more detailed at each one of our buildings. We're going to then take feedback from those buildings. The board and the core team will get together January and February, and we'll figure the next steps out from there. But this kind of 20-year cycle to refresh our facilities comes at a very interesting time, right? Because technology that didn't even exist 20 years ago is changing our workplaces, our schools, in a way that we probably didn't think about 20 years ago. So I think the core team, and I know DLR's leadership, have done a lot of work in the last year. And the purpose of tonight, and what we're interested in getting your feedback on tonight, is to do this kind of first review of some of the work that the core team has done. And we'll end the night, I think, downstairs in the cafeteria, and we'll have a public comment and Q&A period at the end. But tonight is really just about reviewing kind of this first blush of what a facilities plan can look like in 220. Now, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our board representative on that core team, Penny Casimir, who has been, along with Joe Ruffalo, our board reps on our facilities committee, and they have done an outstanding job in this process.
Thanks, Brian. As Brian said, the core team was formed about 9 months ago to take a deep dive in learning what the community saw as value in this process and gather information from other districts as well. As the board rep to the core committee, I spent a lot of time with this group of people, and I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize them on behalf of the board. So if you're on the core committee, could you please stand? We all have little blue lanyards. So feel free to approach anyone with a blue lanyard tonight to ask them questions about the process and how we came up with some of these ideas. And I would be remiss if I didn't also mention the late Joe Kelch. Joe served on our committee as well. As many of you may know, Joe was a former school board member and was passionate about our schools and our community, having his own children and grandchildren attend our schools. And so, as you view some of the things this evening and throughout this process, I'm sure if you know Joe, you will see his hand in some of the things that we came up with. So, thank you again to the core committee and to everyone who helped make tonight possible. We have students involved, we have a lot of staff members. So, I hope you enjoy the evening. And on this note, I'd like to turn it over to Brian Harris.
Okay, we're going to transition. I asked the board, go ahead and they're going to come down front and be part of the audience. As we're transitioning here, again, I just want to take the opportunity to thank everybody for coming out this evening, spending your time here for the next couple hours, listening and learning. I hope tonight, when you're here, you learn something. You may have several questions when you leave this evening. We're going to have plenty of feedback opportunities available over the next month or so for you to be able to give us your thoughts, your opinions, your wishes, your desires, after you have an opportunity to view some things, some of the concepts and ideas. So as we get started here this evening, I want to reinforce what the purpose of this master plan is. We've been working for the last 9 months putting together a master plan. It means every school in the district, all of our capital assets, basically, looking at everything. And what it is, and I'll just read this to you, and you're going to see this again when you go to some other breakout sessions here in a little bit. Create a long-range facilities plan or roadmap that will guide the future implementation of projects to meet the identified board-approved needs of the district. And they will be tied to learning and teaching priorities. And we're going to hopefully educate you a little bit about why. Why are these things needed? Brian spoke a little bit about that. We've got some great instructional opportunities going on in our schools. But on the other hand, we need, sometimes facilities get in the way. And we're going to try to demonstrate that a little bit tonight, talk about some possibilities, talk about some positive changes that could have a significant impact on student learning. The why and the what is what we're going to address tonight and over the next month at each individual schools. The how and the when, that's down the road. Okay, that's not going to be discussed tonight, the how and the when. Tonight's the why and the what. So that's what you're going to hear. So we've been doing this since January. And a lot of you here, I know, participated in some of those initial conversations that took place in different stages. In the springtime, we did a lot of gathering of information. Then over the summer, we started to put together some thoughts and some ideas. The core team really engaged significantly, starting to take all that data and all that information and put together some ideas, some concepts of each and every school. So phase one, as I said, a lot of you attended these meetings. Out of each of the schools, we gathered information, we shared some of the physical assessments that have been going on in each of the facilities, and thank you for that opportunity. And I think you will see here over the next month or so, some of those are starting to be looked at and how we can address them. Phase two, we spent time looking at going out and viewing places regionally here in the Chicago area, but also throughout the Midwest. Looking at school districts like ours, comparable, that had made some adjustments, made some facility enhancements, renovations, even went and looked at a new facility in different locations to see what they did, the ideas on how we might be able to make some changes and some recommendations here. So you can see we did a lot of work. We also did a lot of work internally with staff, from a curriculum and instruction standpoint, focused on what are our learning needs now and trying to project what does 10 years down the road look like. And we're going to tell a little bit of that story here this evening. We also looked at the logistics, how many kids we have, what our classroom looks like, our schedules, making sure that we've got the appropriate space, and you're going to see some thoughts and ideas when it comes to that and what we're trying to do currently in our schools. So I'm going to turn it over now to one of our core team members, Lori Madison. Lori is a parent and has been at all 3 levels, currently in middle school and high school. And I'll let Lori tell you a little bit about the work of the core team. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. I'm actually really excited to be here, and it's been a great experience being part of the core team. So Dr. Harris reviewed phase 1 through 3. I'm going to take us into what we recently were in, which was called phase 4. And this is when the core team met multiple times, about a dozen times, starting back in early July. And actually our last meeting was last week during the phase 4. During those meetings we processed a lot of information and we had a lot of discussions. And during that time we had 3 main goals we focused on. The first one was to align facilities with teaching and learning priorities. The second was to address efficiencies, and the third was to meet future needs. That now brings us to phase 5. That's why we're here tonight. It's the beginning of phase 5. During phase 5, there's going to be some district leadership team meetings, as well as community presentations. I know those dates have been out there. And then we're also going to do a lot of gathering of community input. We are not done. The process for phase 5 is just starting.
Good evening. Tonight, you will be participating in a journey through time to the year 2027. Progress of our voyage will be benchmarked by events that have defined Barrington School District 220 from its inception through the year 2027. Education is an evolving exploration through time, experiences, and technology.
The bulletin board is the most important of all visual aids.
So, settle in and enjoy the ride.
At his own 10, Holman looking to get out of bounds. Room to run. He's going all the way to the 30, 20, and a bit. No flag. Can you believe it?
January 2017. Barrington School District 220 begins a future-ready facilities planning process known as Blueprint 220. 2016. One to World initiative expands to all Barrington 220 students during the school year. 2014. Middle school graduation ceremonies are live streamed for the first time. 2004. Spanish dual language programming begins in district elementary schools in 2004. 1998. Barbara Rose Elementary School opens. 1992. Barrington Middle School Prairie Campus opens. November 1st, 1973. Barrington Community Unit School District 220 is formed. In 1956 through 1958, Sunny Hill, Roslyn Road, and Woodland Schools open. 1950. Barrington High School colors shift from maroon and white to red and white. September 12, 1949. Barrington High School opens at the new Lake Cook Road location. 1946. Barrington Consolidated High School District 224 is formed. 1946. North Barrington School opens. 1907. The first class required to complete 4 years of high school graduates. 1883. An additional north and south wing are added to Huff Street School. 1855. The original Huff Street School is built. 1847. The first one-room school is built on the same location as the Cat Low Theater. Monday, November 30th, 1840. Barrington area forms its first school district. October, 1835. One-room schoolhouse opens in Miller's Grove near Old Sutton Road and Route 68. 1888. The first class graduates from Barrington High School. This was a 2-year high school program housed at Huff Street School. 1947. Countryside School opens. 1953. Grove Avenue School opens. In the fall of 1960, additions including the auditorium are completed at Barrington High School. 1966, Barrington Middle School Station Campus opens. 1969, Arnett Sea Line School opens, featuring a flexible and open floor plan. On August 28, 2008, community-wide planning and funding efforts come to fruition with the dedication of the Barrington Community Stadium. October 19, 2010, the new Early Learning Center was dedicated. 2011, Chinese immersion cohorts are formed at district elementary schools. 2017, first dual-language Spanish cohort graduates from high school. In 2020, a business created in Business Incubator program is the first to earn $1 million in profits. 2026 to 2027, students experience artificial intelligence lecture delivered by Albert Einstein as part of back-to-school activities. We have traveled through time. We are now in the year 2027. We now invite you to experience a group of Barrington 220 students sharing their vision of the future of education within our district. In a student-written and directed presentation, they will demonstrate their ideas about how one family in the future may experience all that Barrington can offer in the year 2027.
especially since they turned the jewel into a Whole Foods. When we start our tour, what do you say, kids?
Let's go.
Welcome to the Student Support Hub. We as an administration believe it's important to focus on the student as a whole, which includes their social and emotional well-being, which is why we have centralized our dean's office, counselor's office, and mission counselors in one centralized location.
Mission counselor. What's a mission counselor?
Well, each student starts their freshman year by researching problems they see in the world, consider the impact they hope to make, focusing on not what they want to be, but what they want to do. Of course, over the course of years, students develop a topic or mission that they work towards solving or improving. Teenagers do have an advanced mind when it comes to certain politics or world problems compared to the minds of adults who are more influenced by how they were raised.
Wait, so what we do in school actually applies to the real world?
Exactly. We want you all to experience real-world careers and voice your opinions. That's why we strive to create student-centered learning areas and the typical funding classes that we have coming up.
I remember a few years after I graduated, they put in some sort of business incubator classroom that I wish I had the chance to experience when I was still in school. It sounds like there have been some huge improvements since then.
Yes, it seems like there's been a lot of huge changes that I wish happened when I was in high school.
Let's keep going on our tour. Working in English Commons. Would your kids like to talk to them about their experiences?
Sure.
Oh there! So I'm so in this family around that are considering moving to the district. Scarlett will be going into her first year of high school. Do you mind telling me what you're working on?
Sure. Right now, Garnet and I are working on solving world hunger by creating a plant food that will help plants sustain without water.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right now, the two of us are just working independently in a small common space because we need some peace and quiet. But there are lots of spaces around the school that can work on your different needs.
Yeah, like when we first started working, we spent lots of time researching in the comfortable spaces we have in the math and science hub. You have like bean bags and comfortable rolling chairs so you can move from place to place, depending on what you need.
Plus, every school area is open from 7 a.m. to around 7 p.m., sometimes later. That way we can work around any schedules we may have early or late if we need to, and work at our own pace.
So what you're saying is that you don't have to go to, say, Mr. Connell's 7th period English class anymore? You could just go wherever you want?
Well, not wherever you want, but teachers are less like teachers and more like mentors or coaches. They help us complete our missions. Today, we're working on writing up our research about the plant foods, so we're in the English hub so that teachers can help us. A few days from now, we're going to be presenting our research in one of the recital halls, and it'll show how we're getting closer to completing our mission. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that you can do whatever you want based on your own needs.
Thank you so much, Willa and Garnet, for giving us a look into your missions. Bye now. Go Broncos!
It seems like this is a much better way to prepare our children for the future. When I was in school, I had to walk up and down hill in the rain, both ways, and when I got to school, it was nothing like this.
I remember a lot of stress.
Well, now if students are stressed, they can head over to have some guided meditation in one of the meditation rooms at our Health and Wellness Center.
Health and Wellness Center? We had to play sports on actual grass, and now there's a Health and Wellness Center? Are the elementary and middle schools similar to this?
Yes, very. The only real difference is they have more structure in their schedules, and their teachers are there for a little more guidance, so they don't get off track from their missions.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's way better than our last.
Why don't we take a look at our health and wellness facility? We have many machines that you can work on for special fitness, lap pools, rock climbing walls, and many different areas students can focus on themselves healthy and mentally.
We're in for 4, out for 8. And it's yesterday, people. Nice job.
Hi there. Do you mind telling us a little bit about what you're just working on?
Sure. So I'm one of the wellness instructors in the facility, and I was just recording a yoga warm-up for my
finish our tour.
Now this is what I'm talking about.
And it looks like they finally got rid of those horrible red seats from the old auditorium.
Those were awful, and even before I was a student. Could you imagine sitting in those during a lengthy student presentation?
Can we try to connect those lights up there?
Hi there. Do you mind telling us a little bit about what you were just doing?
Sure thing. We're connecting all our LED lights to the Bluetooth system in the theater so we can run our light system design wirelessly.
We can change the color of the lights and program the lights through our smartphones. Here, check it out. Rock concert.
Wait. So you can just tell the lights go off and on?
Using an app designed by a student whose mission related to seamless Bluetooth integration. Totally.
We have the finest, most up-to-date equipment that allows us to program lights and sounds from our iPads and smartphones.
We have a lot more time to actually learn about the principles of light and design, and we get to spend less time worrying about working with old and outdated equipment.
We also have a fly system that enables us to fly scenery in and out, which has greatly improved the quality of our performances.
That's awesome. Do the middle schools and elementary schools have the same fly systems and giant stages?
Yeah, it was actually due to the fact that there were such fantastic theater spaces at the middle school and elementary school levels that got me interested in pursuing the field professionally.
Me too. I actually just got into Yale Drama School.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm actually the 10th VHS student to get into Yale Drama thanks to our incredible programming facilities.
Very impressive. Sounds like you've got a good crop of students here at District 220. Good job, girls.
Well, that looks like it brings us to the end of our time together. I hope you learned a little bit about our district and you'll consider moving here.
You gave us a lot of really great information, and this is by far the most impressive and student-centered district we've toured. What do you think, kids?
It's awesome. I want to go here.
Yeah, me too.
All right. It's pretty awesome.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. Before you go, our principal has a video he likes to show families that are considering moving to the district.
Great. Let's see it. Not getting any younger here.
Thank you so much for considering District 220 as a future home for your family. Here at Barrington High School, we pride ourselves in preparing future-ready learners, leaders, and students that are prepared to be successful in their future careers. We look forward to having you join us as part of Bronco Nation 2027.
Mom, what's wrong?
I haven't seen Stevie since we graduated together in '93. Once a hunk, always a hunk.
That settles it. Kids, based on all of the incredible changes I've seen thanks to Blueprint 220, we're moving to Barrington.
Yes! 1, 2, 3. Barrington High School has a lot to teach. To our colors, to each other, to be so firm and strong, united our feet. So round up in Barrington, round up for the planet. Fight, fight, fight. Barrington High School has a lot to teach.
All right, how about one more round of applause for our student members? I also want to thank Ms. Nowak, our theater director here at Barrington High School, for pulling that together and welcoming us into her classroom when we came to her with this concept of having our students participate in our evening tonight. So really, big thank you to Ms. Nowak as well and our students.
saw like how the classrooms could like open up, and I saw how like they have newer desks that are like more kid friendly. Hi, I'm Kate. I'm an 8th grade student at Station. Here they have desks, like even some of the desks are like connected to the chair, so that makes it really hard to work in groups. And with the desks that I saw, kids could like come together more, and so everyone could be facing each other. I definitely think I would like this better. It's open and like fresh and new and not just the same traditional thing.
Originally, I actually got interested in fine arts in 7th grade is when I started performing. Now I'm here and I'm doing shows all the time. Hi, I'm Mae Bostert. I'm a junior at Barrington High School and I am a performer in our fine arts program. Sideware! When I actually started doing theater here, it was really cool to be able to be one of the bigger kids that is on stage, and we have such great teachers. When you walk in here, it just kind of seems like small and kind of dingy, and it makes you kind of sad to be in here sometimes. We don't really have that much rehearsal space, so then it kind of, we all are encroaching on each other's space, and it's really difficult sometimes to get stuff done in time for our shows. The fly system I know is outdated. If you're thrown into a show and you're told you're going to be doing lifts and you've never done lifts before, then you're going to be uncomfortable and you're not going to really want to do it, or you're not going to give it your all because you're not quite sure what you're doing. If you had a newer or better updated auditorium, you'd be able to do more shows and we'd be able to try different things and get a feel for different acting styles, different tech things, different sound things. When you walk into Lake Zurich, you walk into the actual auditorium and you're impressed by how beautiful it is. And the acoustics are amazing and the seats look nice and everything is just very aesthetically pleasing. When we have more space and the space is better equipped for what we need to do, there are more opportunities.
Basically, I started playing football around 3rd grade.
There you go.
And being involved in athletics is much more than just playing a sport. It's just a bond that can't be broken. Hi, my name is Connor Abel, and I'm a senior at Barrington High School, and I play football and lacrosse. So the space isn't great because oftentimes we do have to find other places to practice, or there's not enough gym space for us to practice either. and the whole team can't go in the weight room at once because it'll get too crammed. When you're in the weight room and it's crammed and there's too many people in there, you just can't get any work done. People aren't getting stronger, they're not improving upon what has to be improved upon. Walking into this athletic hallway, I mean, you can kind of see it's a little outdated. And I mean, one of the first things that you'll notice is that you can smell the pool from right when you walk in. Every year you're having like thousands and thousands of people coming in through foot traffic, through your facilities. That first impression that people get is very important. Walking in, I mean, it just looks like a college facility, and I think that's a direct correlation as to why these teams at this school are so efficient and so good at what they do, is because they have these facilities.
My coach just took us out of the weight room altogether because we don't have enough space in there and there's not enough benches, but here they have more than enough benches, and it makes me want to come in here. It'll make people want to come in here more when they have that much space.
Once you get like something new or something much nicer, it makes people want to come back and watch your team, and it would be really beneficial for us as peers in this community, because it would be a common place that we can go and just get our work done and exercise together, and it'll create a healthier society as well.
See that the floor in here was intentionally different, and to make sure that we could make as much mess in here as possible.
I think this is actually pretty cool since I haven't experienced like all this new stuff at our school.
This is flexible seating that we can pull apart and rearrange. We can keep the children in a cluster on these, or we can spread them out.
You will actually be more comfortable and willing to think harder when you're in a more comfortable space. And if you're like facing like across from each other, you're able to just like do this and focus on your project. I think that this was a great experience.